All right, so here we have a Plague Unholy Death Knight versus a Control Priest. Here, get rid of everything. You want to try to look for a Helia because you want those infinite plagues as quickly as possible. The Nerubian Vizier was interesting. Being able to generate resources is cool, but it's definitely not good enough in my opinion. Yeah, you want to just try to find Helia. In this hand, at least you have a turn 1 play. You have a turn 3 play with the Chill Fallen Baron. I actually like this quite a bit. The extra card draw from the Baron will help you get Helia. I actually really like it if you're going first, because it's not like you could coin out Helia anyway. So playing the Chill Fallen Baron gives you 2 more tries to get her. Playing that turn 1 is fine. It puts it into the deck earlier rather than later. I might have wanted to go with the Staff. Mostly because Rustrot Viper exists, I would rather play the weapons sooner to get plagues into their deck, so that way they don't destroy it later on, but they could just play it turn 2 and it'll be fine. The priest doesn't really seem like they're doing anything. Also, I apologize for no sound. The way that these two gameplays I'm going to be watching were recorded, there was no sound. I apologize. Another weapon's interesting. I would like to play the weapon here. I mean, I get it. I get hero powering because you want to use your mana more efficiently, I guess. But I think getting plagues into your deck and trying to play around a Rustrot Viper is a little bit more valuable in my opinion. Dirty! Okay, that's fine. You lose a card draw, which is definitely unfortunate. But you get Magatha, which makes up for it in the mid and late game, so that's definitely gonna be fine. Now that we've drawn Magatha, I don't mind losing I don't mind losing the Chill Fallen Baron nearly as much. But yeah, going into turn 4, unless you draw something good like maybe a school teacher, you want to probably play Astalor Hero Power next turn, even if you don't get the value. Now I'm very interested to see what this person does, because they are legends, so they probably realize that fighting for the board here against the priest and trying to get as much pressure as possible is a win condition, right? Other players, like when I spectated other games, especially if they're like in gold and plat in that range, or lower, they don't understand the importance of fighting for board like this. Like, they'll hold Astalor because they're like, I need to get the Mana Thirst value next turn. And because of that, I'm not going to play on turn 4, but then it'll mess up my other turns. Like, turn 5, now you have a 5-mana 5/5 you want to play. Or if you draw School Teacher, you can play School Teacher and Noggling. Or you can possibly play Magatha. If they had saved their Astalor and hadn't just played for tempo, it would mess up their future turns. They'd have less pressure on board. So I really appreciate the fact that this person played Astalor when they did. Hate Creation Protocol. It's one of my least favorite cards in the game because you just get to get 2 copies of a ridiculous minion. Like, oh yeah, let's just get multiple copies of the freaking the Titan. Here, they actually get something really good. The Mortician could get you Helia, so obviously you want to play that first. I respect that a ton. In this situation, okay, Unholy Frenzy, in my opinion, is by far the best option. If they play something big like the Titan, or even the Behemoth to some extent, like a minion you really, really want to kill, Unholy Frenzy goes crazy. It gives you free corpses. It'll finish off infusing Sylvanas. I don't know exactly the deck list because it's not here, but they could have other corpse-related cards. Dead Air is interesting with a couple of death rattles like Chill Fallen Baron, but again, you can still activate it with Unholy Frenzy. And the Sticky Grimwalker has some potential, but I think it's the worst of these 3 options because at the end of the day, it's probably just gonna die the turn after you play it. Maybe you could play it Hero Power and kill off something for 5 mana, which isn't bad. Oh, they end up taking that card anyway. But Unholy Frenzy will kill the minion anyway. Like, I just don't think it was very worth it. Okay, they hit and play the weapon with their 3 mana. They use their mana efficiently. That is exactly what I would do here. But yeah, I think Unholy Frenzy is really the only option because you can use Unholy Frenzy on, let's say, your 8/5 Reborn, right? You can use your 8/5 Reborn to run into a minion like the Behemoth. It dies. It'll bring back an 8/5 Reborn minion. You could use it on the 3/2s with the Death Rattle to put plagues into your deck and get more plagues with more Death Rattles, which also has a lot of merit to it. The sickly, Grimwalker just doesn't do enough in my opinion. I just don't think it's high enough impact. And in a priest matchup, like, in some matchups, the Grimwalker, like if I were to say against a Hunter or something where you really want to fight for board and if you can get good value, maybe it's better there. But in Priest, where you want to maximize as much value as you can get, you got to go with something like Unholy Frenzy to try to high roll. Because really the only way you're going to win this is by high rolling. Because if they've, like, also if they don't have Steam Cleaner to get rid of your plagues, then you could also win. And especially since you haven't gotten Helia yet, things look a little bit awkward. So this turn, I would probably hero power and try to play Nerubian Vizier. But you could okay, they're going to play the Sickly Grimwalker, hero power, kill the taunt, kill the 2/2, and then kill the 1/1. That is also a fine option. And you know what? If the 2/4 Sickly Grimwalker here lives, well, then that's good value, I'll say. I mean, it's fine drawing a Plague. I'm not as happy about it. I'd rather them draw after you get Helia, but it's fine. But I'm just worried because I'm most likely against a Priest. They're going to be able to kill this 2/4. I would say like 70% of the time. And I would, again, rather have an Unholy Frenzy to kill something off instead, but it's fine. Like, Unholy Frenzy could have gotten you a very similar result, but then this would be a 2/3. But it's not that big of a deal. Okay, Shadow Word Distort, the 2/4 does die. They don't get any more value out of it. But again, it's fine. They killed off a minion. They were able to fight for board with it a little bit. They made it work. And sometimes that's all you can do. You like, one of the things that legend players do better than people in like gold and plat is, even if they might have taken the wrong card in the discover, they realize how to get value out of cards. And on that turn, to use the poison to kill off that taunt minion to fight for board was decent value. Could you have used it and saved it to kill like a Titan or a Colossal? Maybe, but that's just me. Here, it's got to be the Scourge. It's going to be 7 mana. The other cards are fine. Honestly, the other cards are good, but the Scourge is just too solid, especially if you can bait out a removal right after they use like a Whirlpool, possibly you restabilize with the Scourge and there's nothing they can do. And then School Teacher's pretty solid. I would take Frozen Over here to try to draw Helia and maybe make him overdraw, but Harmonic Metal, okay, it's fine. You can pump up, it gets some pretty decent value. I'm okay with Harmonic Metal as well. I think drawing cards to find Helia is a bit more important, but because you have Magatha in your hand already, I definitely understand why you might not prioritize draw. But going into this turn, it could be Colossal. Yep, okay. Creation Protocol, so that means they're gonna have at least one more. So even if they did still have the Poisonous minion and they killed off the Behemoth this turn, they would still have to deal with another one probably next turn, which just sucks. So this turn, they have a couple of options. I might go for a trade into the 4/2 and then Scourge. You could also play Sylvanas to steal the Behemoth, but I wouldn't want to do that because I want to save Sylvanas to steal their Titan specifically. And or maybe Yogg. At this point, when this was sent to me, Yogg had not been nerfed yet, so it's possible this Control Priest was running Yogg, and I would like to steal that to get more value that way. The Colossal Minion is a good third option to steal, so if they play Sylvanas here, I definitely get it, but I would rather try to get something more, like get more value out of it. Here, you could probably play the Skirt, you trade the 2/1 in, you might get a Rush Minion off of the Scourge, and then if you do, you can also play the Noggling. If not, it's fine. They are going to end up playing Sylvanas, which is fine. Again, Priest just has so much removal where I don't even know if this ends up sticking on the board, so it's worrying to me. Playing the Noggling does pump up the Murlocula, which, if it becomes free, is just a free, pretty solid minion now, so I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I think it's actually quite solid. And if all of these minions end up dying to a removal, I guess now you can restabilize with the Scourge, which is fine. Yep, 1 mana to kill a minion. It's obviously super duper strong. They still have 7 mana and they can play the other Behemoth, I would assume. Yep, okay. I don't know, and this is why I would like to have had the Scourge. Like, just having this wider board means that maybe somehow you could punish them for just playing the Behemoth this turn, essentially. Oh, it kills both minions. Oh, that sucks. You could play Murlocula into Magatha here and then maybe try to find Helia. I don't hate it. Or you could just play the Scourge. At this point, I'd maybe even try to find Helia. Whoa, what? Oh, I guess no, hero powering makes sense. That's my bad. I was like, why would you do that? But no, that makes sense. Oh, okay, that actually worked out quite well for them. This will draw them an undead minion and summon one. So they'll get another Distressed Voldir. Wait, this is really good, possibly, them getting this. And Cagehead to summon a big minion, also very good, potentially. No, this is solid. They could run Shard of Naru and silence this, which would be that would be big sad, but maybe they don't, and if they don't have it, hopefully not top decked especially, this could snowball quite hard. I don't know. I think drawing cards to try to find Helia is the play I would have gone for, because at the end of the day, I just think that's so incredibly important to do. Like, you need to find Helia. You have to for this matchup. You need to just get as many plagues in their deck as possible, but the Scourge is definitely fine. It forces them to have a removal. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that sucks. No. I don't like that. They should have power chord synchronized possibly the 5/5. I don't think this matters too much. I mean, I guess it's fine, but I don't know. At this point, I would probably play the Primus. I'd kill this off, play the Primus to eat the 9/9. They just used a creation protocol, so it's going to be harder for them to copy your Primus. But let's look here at what they could do. Again, Murloculus into Magatha seems fine to me. I would honestly be all for that. Because again, you still want to find Helia. You have enough mana to also play Helia if you were to draw her. So that would be my go-to. You get the 9. If you're gonna trade there, you have to play the Primus. If you're gonna do that, you have to play the Primus. Eat the 9/9. Yeah, you have to do that. You get a blood card though, which could be okay. Blood Boil is, of these options, I would probably take the Bone Guard Commander, because that way you can refill the board again, and if somehow you get like Grave Strength to close it out, this could honestly be really good. Again, you don't really need to heal against a Priest. The way Priest wins isn't by HP. They either outvalue you and get so much stuff you just can't compete, or they wipe your board on a big critical turn and you just run out of resources. At no point is HP the problem, so Blood Boil is a bad option here. It has to be Bone Guard Commander. Okay, so this is just a case of like not knowing your win condition into the matchup. I mean, Blood Boil is a fine card. Like, if it was worse, like it's medium, right? If you got two bad options and Blood Boil, I would take Blood Boil, right? But in this particular instance, you had a card that could just flood your board if it were to get wiped somehow, and that I think is just way more valuable. But yeah, go that. You trade there. I don't think hitting the 1/1's relevant. And I guess you have a big enough board at this point if you're going to play the 3/2 to where you don't have to play Murloculus. You can play that after they play a big board wipe. So I agree with them not playing it here. If they had taken the Bone Guard Commander, I would have for sure played Murloculus, because it baits out removal and then you're able to do the other thing. Whirlpool kind of sucks because you lose one of the other Voldirs, which is definitely suboptimal. But hopefully it's okay. You can play Murloculus, you can play Magatha to try to find a... Okay, that's another spell gone. I would not play that first, because it messes up Magatha, I think. I guess it doesn't mess up Magatha, I just don't like it as much. Because I guess the interaction's still fun. And you find Helia, thank goodness. I forgot that even if you draw the Plague Grain, it'll still draw you another card. You play Murloculus and you play Chain Guardian here. Please! Okay. So let's think about in their head why they wouldn't do that. They want to play around removal, which makes sense. But in this matchup, you already have another sick way of regaining the board with Marrowgar. You should have another way of regaining the board with the Bone Guard Commander. You want to try to put as much pressure on the Priest to remove your board every turn that you can, because they're going to be, they've already used a Whirlpool, right? If they play the Dissonant Pop that does 6 damage, it won't, this'll still have Reborn, the 7/7 still lives. Murloculus, I think Murloculus would die, but you don't need to play around removal that much. Also empties out some hand space for you to do other things. I don't know, they definitely 100% should have gone for playing minions here. You just need more pressure. Like, if that's their turn, right now, let's just say, hypothetically, that they were gonna do this either way. Like, maybe they have removal, and maybe we'll see in a couple of turns, but if you have, this is 11 damage, you'd have 19 plus 5, so it's 24 damage. 24 damage is insane. Down with the Ship would be more direct damage on their face, And you could, in theory, like, kill them next turn, almost. And now what are they supposed to do? Like, you can play Chain Guardian now and hit the 9 hero power and hit it, right? And then you can still do 11 damage, which is fine. And then you have to play Astalor here, as well as Murloccula. You have to, like, well, I guess your board's big enough now to where you don't need to play Murloccula. But hindsight's 20/20. You didn't know you were going to get the 2/2/2s. But yeah, they should have played Murloccula last turn. If they end up drawing 4 plagues here, and they committed to the board, they win the game. They probably won't. But if they draw 4, okay, so they would have been at 4 HP right now. That still leaves you in a great spot. If they play Whirlpool, you play Astalor, and you have lethal. Now if they play Whirlpool or something and you play Astalor, you don't have lethal yet. So you just had to go, a little bit harder, I think. Commit a little bit more to the board. Don't get me wrong, it's still very possible they win this game. They get rid of the 7 as well as the other 7, I would assume. I wouldn't get rid of the 8 because it has very little HP. And then they discover a legendary minion, but I don't think that matters. Overall, I would bet that they win this game. Again, holding onto the Murloccula when your board is that full makes sense. This turn, Murloccula made sense. Last turn, holding Murloccula didn't make sense. I think they win this turn, though. Right? How much? Okay, let's 10, 16, 20. You can do 22 damage minimum. All they have to do is draw 1 plague. If you want to commit to the Astalor here. Which is a bit risky, I will say. But also, assuming it splits evenly, right? 7 and 7, you have lethal here with Astalor. Like, I would play Astalor here, because if 6 go face, or maybe it's 7, and it splits evenly, you have lethal. So I would just play Astalor here. Just play Astalor. You don't want to trade first, though, because you still might need to kill off the 3/10. Okay, cool. They play Astalor. If it goes a lot face, you have lethal. Cool. Okay, thank goodness they played Astalor first. Whew. Okay, had me on the edge of my seat a couple of times there. I think that they made a couple of pretty solid misplays, whether it be discovering the wrong card, not committing to the board correctly. There were a couple of instances that could have gone either way. For example, this play where they used Sylvanas to take the Behemoth, I feel like that's kind of 50-50. Would I rather have saved this to steal their Titan? Yes, but stealing it right away. Also, they can't really heal, right? So like stealing the Behemoth didn't matter because if you leave it up and play the Scourge, they're not going to heal anymore. But stealing it makes sense. It allows you to apply more pressure. That's fine. I'm not talking about plays like that. I'm talking about plays where they discovered Blood Boil, which I think just wasn't a good understanding of the matchup. You want to try to flood the board as much as you can. Like, yes, this hurts Marrowgar, sure, but you don't have Marrowgar in your hand right now, and you have a lot of other ways of getting corpses regardless, so the commander, I think, is correct here. And there were a couple of other instances, like not committing to the board. But overall, I didn't hate this. They still won the game. That's pretty impressive, especially considering this is not a great matchup. And we'll move on to the next game. All right, so next up, we are going to have a Control Warlock versus a Death Knight. I don't know if it's going to be Plague or if it's going to be Unholy or Blood. We will see. But yeah, this is a Control Warlock. I don't think it's the Thaddeus version. In this particular matchup, I would keep Drain Soul. I don't think I would keep Reaver, but I would keep Drain Soul just in case, like, in terms of matchup. Because if it's Unholy, or if it's a Plague Death Knight with a good opening hand, the Drain Soul could be nice for killing off an early minion. But getting rid of it and looking for a potentially better, more greedy hand is fine. Also, they have their face here. I don't 100% know if they were comfortable with their face being shown, even though they had it in the video, so I covered it up with the rank 1 symbol. So if the viewer watches this and they're like, I was okay with my face being shown, well, then I apologize for covering it. I just didn't want to have any potential issues. But it looks like they're Blood Death Knight and they coin out a Forge. That's probably going to be the one that heals or the card that discovers a spell. Life tapping turn 2, a Warlock staple. 100% valid. I don't think there's really anything else to do. Cult Neophyte is a bit annoying, but you could just life tap again here. It does not suck at all. You want to try to draw cards as quickly as possible. And since you know it's Blood Death Knight, you don't care about HP. Right? You don't care about HP. It's like the Control Priest before. The win condition for this matchup is not HP. It's about value and trying to overwhelm your opponent and not get overwhelmed yourself. Taking damage in this matchup does not matter at all. Going into turn 4, oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, going into turn 4, you just play an imposing Anubisath and you pray. But now, I would argue that you just play Forge and you send a 7/4 rush minion into their 2/6. It's not mana efficient, but it's pretty good. You could also play another Anubisath if you do want to be mana efficient here. But I would probably just go Forge of Wills because it also sets up Forge of Wills better for another big minion later on because you already have Forge of Wills out there. So this one's gonna be good. You rush into the 2/6, you're applying a decent amount of pressure. Yes, something like Blood Boil could kind of wreck you here, but you kill the 2/6 if they don't have good removal right now. And if they have to play something like Asphyxiate, it's a 50-50, perfect. And even if it killed the 7/2, you don't really mind losing the 7/2 here. Okay, so going into this turn, you have a couple of options. Let's pause for a second and let's assess. I would probably play another 4-mana 7/7. Another big minion out on the board. You could bait out Asphyxiate, is another target for your location immediately. But another option is life tapping and seeing what your options are. You could play Astalor to do some direct damage and have like more of a slow turn. If you do that, you probably end up life tapping. But I would probably go with another 4-mana 7/7. Because you have the location already out on the board. You can get some pretty decent value out of that. Turn 6 will be the Doomkin, and then after that will probably be Sargeras, I would guess. Obviously, we don't know exactly how it's gonna work, so let's take a deep breath, but I would assume that it's Doomkin into... No, Sargeras, you need to wait one turn. Actually, you'd have only 8 mana, my bad. Okay, so it ends up not being the mech that discovers a spell and makes it 3 less. That Forge card, it's like the Mechanome or something. It's the guy that heals, which makes sense because they just took a lot of damage. I'm all for that. So yeah, this turn, I would probably just play Doomkin. I would probably use the location on the 7/6, rush into the 2/3, and then hit him with the 7/2. And one of the things about, so, okay, I'm a little bit annoyed with the aspect ratio here because I can't see how many corpses they have. I should have been keeping a better track of it. But if they only have 3 corpses, right, they can't even remove this board with Corpse Explosion. They're a 40 card deck with, honestly, limited removal for a control deck. Corpse Explosion, some single target removal with something like, Asphyxiate or Obliterate maybe, and then Soul Stealer. So because you just took one of their mana, committing to the board like this makes so much sense because they're not able to punish you. They're not able to punish you by playing Soul Stealer for another like 2 turns because he took one of their mana. And again, Corpse Explosion, especially after Vampiric Blood, means you can very easily commit to this board. I might play Jaraxxus because it's the most mana efficient play at this point. But there's also an argument to Forge the Watcher, play that, and then play Astalor, and just play a little bit slower. I would play Jaraxxus. It looks like that's the direction they're leaning, because the more value you can get out of this, the better. So yeah, they play Jaraxxus. I agree with that. And they pass. It looks like they're in a pretty good spot. They probably play Sargeras next turn and go for infinite taunt minions. And then once that happens, I think the game's kind of doomed. That'll hit the 7/2, but they still have a decent amount of stuff on the board. I mean, you could argue because you have infinite 6/6s with this, playing the Astalor play into heal hero power tour guide, so the next one's free. No, that's actually good. No, no, you want to play that last because you already are going to be playing hero power. Astalor is fine too, actually. Going into turn 10, I didn't realize that he was about to have 10 mana. The next Astalor will be completely mana thirsted, which is a lot of burst damage. So yeah, Astalor there was correct. I forgot that he had played the Doomkin. I was like, I've only seen like 8 turns, right? Astalor here is a little bit inefficient. But no, because he's going to have 10 mana next turn. It's very viable to do that and try to win the game with Astalor next turn. Very, very solid stuff. 13 HP. I mean, if they play like Blood Boil, Death Strike's fine. Death Strike's okay. I think Astalor still is the win, right? For sure. Like 3 goes here. They still have 10, 14. Wait, what? You have lethal. This is an instance where you're just playing the game a little bit too fast. They're at 19, right? Astalor does 11 because only 3 get soaked up here and it is mana thirsted. That's what I assumed. I assumed by playing this 5/5, it literally just said, I'm going to be playing Astalor next turn. They get lethal anyway, so it's fine. But just in the future, take a little bit more time on your turns. It's something that I'm very guilty of myself, where I, well, obviously play too fast. I do it all the time on stream. But yeah, you want to take a time a little bit more sometimes, just in case. So they jump into the next game immediately. I'll skip ahead a little bit. It looks like they're going Warlock into Druid. Now, this is before the nerf, so this is going to be, okay, I don't like anomalies. It kind of changes how you play the first spell you cast. Cost 1 less, that's fine. But I think this is going to be Miracle Yogg, and obviously the specific matchup isn't as prevalent anymore. But I do think that it is, there's still a lot to potentially learn here. I would maybe keep the Doomkin to throw them off in terms of mana, because I think you want to be greedy. It's not like you have that much pressure, but trying to look for the location and the 4/4 is also a very important play. So I would say that's good too. Symphony of Sands, Okani, yeah, it's fine. Doomkin's a bit slow. They're running a 40 card version. Okay, well, sure. That makes this a whole lot easier for us. That means there's going to be a lot less consistent in getting the cards that they wanted. But yeah, Doomkin's definitely a bit greedy here. This is an instance, at least for like mulligans and stuff, where it might come with a little bit more feel in the deck. Oh, they're going Mildred. Oh, that's actually very exciting. I played against Mildred not too long ago, and I actually want to play that deck soon. But anyway, I would just Forge the Watcher here. Because they're making you draw extra cards, you're almost never going to life tap in this matchup. But yeah, a lot of the times would look at like mulligans can come down to feel a little bit, and it can come down to like stats. If it were up to me, I would probably look like, oh, what is usually kept in these matchups? Because it's the opponent's turn right now, I'm just gonna look it up and just see what things people do. So we go to like Control Warlock, we go to the Druid matchup, and we go to mulligan win rate. And they're gonna play that. That makes sense to me. Honestly, it would also make sense to me to hero power or to drain soul my own minion to empty out some hand space, but it's fine. Yeah, Doomkin's a very bad card to keep, even though it is kept about 54% of the time in the Druid matchup. Like in terms of kept cards, it's pretty common, which was my mindset. I just didn't realize that the win rate was so low. It's one of the lowest win rate cards. Okay, it looks like they played the Winnowblood Seedsman, which is fine. This turn, I would either go Okani or Symphony of Sins. You could also go the 3-mana spell and Tour Guide. And then trade here, or 3-mana spell and Drain Soul. Just so you have more space in your hand so you don't overdraw. I would look to play 2 cards here. Okay, playing Okani's fine. You're going to overdraw a card, but going into the next turn where they might want to play Nourish, countering a spell could be massive. So I would possibly counter a spell. The main problem with this, though, is like Druid has things like the... they have several 0 mana and even some 1 mana spells that can just easily get rid of his ability. So, I don't know. I would... It's a little bit weird, in my opinion. I would have still liked to play 2 cards, but it's fine. But yeah, I knew that Doomkin is a card that's capped a decent amount into the Druid matchup to mess up their curve, but I did not realize that the win rate was so low. If you actually look at the Mulligan win rates, it's the second lowest win rate card in the Mulligan in this matchup. What about Drawn? It's also not that great when drawn. And it's decent when played, but that's interesting. I would have expected it to be a lot better. You lost Astalor, which is so incredibly sad. I would play both of the 1-drops here just to get more minions on the board, especially with this thing out there. But yeah, it looks like they played Sir Finley, traded Restaurant Viper, and then they overdrew. That's fine. Ooh, I don't know if I would have life tapped, because the whole point of this Druid deck is to win by milling you out. I would have just not taken the tour guide value, or better yet, literally just waited to use the tour guide value until after I get Jiraxis so I could get maybe like a 6/6 for free. It's a little bit unfortunate. It also looked like they played a spell and baited out Okani's thing. I wasn't paying attention to what spell that they lost. That actually might be important later on, so let's look at that real quick. Okay, it was the plating for armor, which they don't really need. Okay, but anyway, back to the Nourish play. That's fine. They gained some mana crystals. Planted Evidence is fine as well. I mean, there's nothing you can do about this. They're ramping up quite a bit. I'd like to see how much mana and stuff they have. The aspect ratio on this is a little bit off, so I can't see like corpses and mana, but it'll be fine. Funnel Cake? Funnel Cake? Oh, and to pre-nerfed Prison Breaker to kill off the minions, so they get less value out of that. That's fair. Symphony of Sins feels awkward at this point in time. It's gotta be remove the cards from the top of their deck, though. It's gotta be this, because you know they're going mill. I guess you could go Gluttony and hope that it lands on the tour guide and you can get some big stuff out there, and you could save Movement of Envy for later. That makes sense. You can apply some pressure. I would just play this right now. I would just play this right now. You have no. This is a 2 mana 8/9. Even though it's not forged, you've already forged 1 card, I think. So Ignis is active. Or if you haven't forged one, you'll draw one later, so it's fine. Like, I don't know. I think getting the extra pressure, I guess Yogg is a problem. I guess this is pre-nerf. I did just say that, so Yogg is definitely a card you have to worry about. I don't know, on that last turn, oh, you lost the NV2. Oh, that sucks. You have to wait till Gigafin. Doomkin last turn, I think, was the optimal play, though. Like, on this turn, I wouldn't have even played Symphony of Sins to begin with. I would have just gone Doomkin to help you out, just in case you draw Jiraxis, Sargeras soon, or Gigafin. Because now you're just in an awkward spot on this turn. It looks like they play Doomkin now. I skipped ahead a little bit too far, but they play Doomkin now. And I would probably play like Armor Vendor just for armor. I don't think Tour Guide matters too much, especially because you'll draw like 3 cards next turn. So Tour Guide doesn't really matter. Just play the Armor Vendor for some armor and pass. That's fine. Oh man, this was kind of bad. That Yogg, excuse me, Yogg and not playing Doomkin earlier might lose them this matchup. Excuse me. But we will see. Tendrils make sense. Trading here makes sense. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. All right. No, wait. Okay, so you can get an insane Defile here, by the way. Insane Defile. Oh, Sargeras is so good. Never mind, play Sargeras. You play Sargeras here every time. Every time it's Sargeras and you just eat everything. Don't play Gigafin. No. I would have played Sargeras to try to get infinite value immediately. Because they can still kill off the 7/4 with Rake and get all their minions back anyway. Again, don't life tap. You're going to draw 3 cards next turn anyway. Now you are going to overdraw, I think, 2 cards. He realizes the mistake he made. You can play Tour Guide, that's fine, but you don't want to life tap. That doesn't that was incorrect. Also, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on if I can. Okay, that hits the 7. Okay, thank goodness. But I want to hear your thoughts on if I'm a little bit sometimes too mean when I talk about things, because I don't know. In my head, this is just my initial reaction, but I can try to be a little bit more reserved in the things that I say, right? Like if they do make a thing that I see as a misplay, I can say like, I personally wouldn't have done that, rather than going, no, 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 what are you doing? You know, like I did not too long ago, but it'll be fine. Okay, well, they don't lose the Gigafin value, which is nice. I mean, I would play Sargeras now. I would have played him last turn, but I would play him now. Arguably, what you could have done, actually, is you could have played Defile. Like, so, okay, here's what I'm talking about. Okay, the Defile play that I think would have been even better is this right here. Wait. I didn't go back far enough. 1, 2, these things are gonna die anyway. So basically, you trade the 7-4 here because the death rattle won't go off because the other thing died first. This is fine. Both of these go face. You go Defile for 1. It'll kill this and then all 3 of these things. And then you play Sargeras. Yeah, I guess you take a little bit of damage possibly from the volatile skeletons. And if they have a lot of direct damage, you could die. But I think the Defile plays pretty solid, honestly. I think another thing you could do is you could have gone, no, you would have had to trade Gigafin there. But I would have looked for a Defile play. Or you could have at least played Drain Soul first on one of the enemy minions to heal up a little bit. Because now they've just wasted hand space. They're gonna overdraw and lose more stuff. It looks like they're going to play Defile anyway. Yeah, playing Defile earlier would have been just better, I think. Let's just hope they can't kill Sargeras. Because I don't know when they're going to get another, like, insane Defile setup again. Because now you want this. Well, I guess you could reverb this, actually. And then heal yourself back up to full. Oh, that sucks. Let me be honest, I actually really like this this druid deck. Oh no. Oh no, that's so sad. Oh, and they lost Sir Finley. Okay, that might be doomed. That makes sense to me. I would probably double trade, or no, yeah, that's fine. No, that makes more sense because you only need to trade one thing, and yeah. I would probably reverb this and go for a full heal. Oh, shoot, wait, that's a 13-13. No, never mind. They made the right choice. I didn't realize this was a 13-13. I can't hover over it to see, like, stats and stuff. But no, that's actually quite good. No, that's solid. That's solid. Go face. And then I would just forge. I would forge. Just forge. Because you're going to get 2 minions anyway. I just don't think that you need to play the 8-9 here. Because you just wasted one of the triggers on this. So if you had forged, not only will it heal you, which could be good later on. Oh man. Wait a minute. Depending on how many cards they draw, it might not be worth it. This is, I mean, I don't know. I still think going for a full heal was better. Because if they go for a full heal here, they're probably alive to 1 more fatigue play. Whereas now they're well, actually, how much damage do they have? Hold on. How much damage do they have here? No, I'm pretty sure they still lost. I'm pretty sure they still lose. They draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They draw at least 7 more cards. Yeah, that's just enough fatigue damage to win. That's fine. It's a bit unfortunate. I think they could have played a little bit better. I think they could have played the 8-9 sooner to try to apply more pressure. I think they could have defiled and played Sargeras and immediately summoned 2 6/6s to apply more pressure on this turn. Where was it? On this turn right here. Because just imagine if on this turn they have 2 6/6s along with 2 3/2s. I mean, Obviously, we don't know 100% how things would have played out. But having those extra stats could have been really, really impactful. It could have maybe threatened lethal. I don't know 100%, but I think that was a bit of a misplay. But yeah, Mildrew is definitely a matchup that you don't usually play against, so I understand you not knowing exactly how to play against it. But yeah, another thing is about playing this big minion is they can send their selfish shellfish in and they die. But again, it's hard. It's a hard matchup, I think, especially considering you're playing a class that likes drawing cards. So overall, it's fine. It's no big deal. Gain a ton of armor. Wow, wait, that is so good. And this deck, that's incredible, especially like later on to help soak up a ton of damage. But yeah, it looks like they lose. I think that there were definitely a couple of misplays. Hopefully my explanation on certain things made sense. If you guys find these coaching videos helpful, let me know. Again, you can go into the Discord and submit unlisted videos for me to look at. I'll try to look at them 2 to 3 times a week and make a couple of videos on them. And hopefully you can learn from it. Yeah, I hope you guys had a good time, and I'll see you guys in the next one.